And radio style, hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. I am as well. I wanted to do a quick show on as it's titled, How Long Should My Manifestation Take? So I figured we'd try to do a quick one on this. And I actually just had a comment on one of my videos that I think is going to spin into a potential show tomorrow. There were some, I guess, questions and comments, questions as to maybe why their manifestation's not working quite as well as they'd like, and so I might even elicit further questions from this individual, but we'll go from there. The song I just got through playing, that was Rush, Time Stand Still, and hopefully you enjoy that. I haven't heard Rush in a long time. I was very excited to be able to pull that into play, and we'll be going out with a Chicago song, and that'll be coming up soon. A couple of the things I wanted to cover, and this is kind of me summarizing, I guess, kind of how this all works. Now, I want to throw the caveat in there. Beliefs are key. So if you believe something should take instantaneous time, it could theoretically go that quickly. It's very, very possible that you could manifest that quickly. What I'm throwing out are general rules that really kind of apply to what you're trying to accomplish. The general rule of thumb for most of us, there is always exceptions to everything, and always follow your inner guidance. We're kind of just trying to work through these generalities, right? I think this is really good kind of rule of thumb to apply when trying to manifest something. Now, the basics of it is the more moving parts your manifestation has, the longer it's likely going to take. When I mean moving parts, I mean things that have to occur. An example of something with few moving parts, a parking place. The only thing that really needs to happen is either A, that spot needs to be empty when you get there, or B, someone needs to be pulling out as you're getting there. Not a lot of moving parts. Not a lot of people have to be involved in that. Maybe when it comes to the idea of maybe getting a raise, there's kind of one that maybe has a few more moving parts, but not a whole lot. One, you need to get attention from somebody. Two, there needs to be a position that you're qualified and good at. Three, it needs to be a position that actually works towards your larger purpose and what you're here in this world to do. Four, they need to have a budget for it. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these little things that have to fall in line for you to be able to accomplish that job raise. And quite possibly, to use Neville Goddard as a good example, when he was, I think his second wife, when he was manifesting her, she was currently married. So in a case such as that, you need to, one, have this potential person go through a divorce and make those pieces fall in line. And two, then you've got to get, like, your guys' connection has to happen. You maybe have to bump into each other. You got to go on a few dates. Things got to work out. Conversations got to work out. Like, all these little pieces need to fall in place for that to work. Again, it can happen. It's not impossible. Never, ever is. And I'm actually a very fond proponent of doing kind of the larger manifestations that require us to do more things, I guess, if you will. So what I want to point out, too, is when you go down this approach of choosing what the end result is and living from the end, to use Neville Goddard, and that is how we manifest. You live from the end, and then you kind of throw some Hicks energy at it to kind of get you through the day. You know, maybe if you're having doubts, like that one person that commented today on the video, and we had a little chit-chat going back and forth. Sometimes you need something that's going to keep your energy positive, that's going to help you get through the negative times where you're going to be questioning things, where you're like, but it's not really happening, or what, I'm focused on reality, or I just talked to my friend so-and-so and they said that can never happen, and then it's got me all screwed up or kicked me sideways like I did a couple shows ago. So sometimes we need to, yes, manifest. You do it through imagining, then you use Hicks to keep your energy good. But that all being said, when you put your manifestation as something that requires some moving pieces to work, to make it happen, if you will, then let universe fill in those moving pieces. If you do it that way, you'll find, and you can do it either way. So again, there's no right way to do this. I'm just throwing out rules of thumb, trying to give some pointers and guidance on how you can make this happen a little easier than maybe what you're currently doing. So if you have your manifestation, it's out here in front of you there, so I can see my hands on the screen. So you have it out in front of you, and there's a number of things that need to line up in order for that to occur. Let the universe fill in those blanks for you. Let universe bump you into who you need to bump into, or if it's the case of maybe a career change, let universe kind of even help you find the right job. And the reason I'm fond of this is because in the past for me, there's been a number of cases where I've actually managed to land jobs that I, one, didn't know they were there, two, didn't know I'd even like, three, never even heard of. Like it was not on my mind at all. And once I got into the job and started doing it, it was like, wow, this is super awesome. I'm learning great things. I'm learning perfect things towards the direction I'm trying to go. I would never ever have found this had I been looking for it myself. So, that being said, the other side of this, and again, there's no right or wrong way, okay? I'm throwing out what I think is easiest, and that's for me. That's from my perspective. Now, I've done this a bunch, and I'm not too terribly, I'm pretty successful at it. We'll put that in the positive, right? I'm doing well, and I've definitely accomplished a lot of great things, and more are just continuing to come. So I'm offering my advice based off of what I've been through. So take it for what it's worth. But you can micromanage. So if you're going to put something out there and there's a number of steps that need to happen, instead of manifesting the end result, you can actually come back a few steps. So say maybe to get in this relationship with someone, maybe they need a divorce, but before that even happens, maybe you guys need to have like a real awesome heart-to-heart, good conversation where they kind of open up, right? So that's your first focus. You focus on manifesting this heart-to-heart discussion. You start to imagine the restaurant that you're going to be at, maybe the cocktails, maybe a glass of wine, right? Maybe you got something good going. I'm going to take a sip while hang on. That's delicious. It's like a shame not to. Okay, so you start to manifest the glass of wine, maybe the meal, maybe the restaurant, the place you're going to sit, maybe the window view, all these things, right? So then that occurrence happens, and then the next one's like, all right, I need to manifest this divorce for her, right? So then you start focusing and imagining and living from the place where the divorce has already occurred. Then that occurs. Then you start to work on the relationship with you and this person, right? And you guys actually getting together, which maybe requires some time. Maybe they've got children involved and they've got to deal with the divorce. Maybe you don't want them just jumping straight to you because that's not necessarily healthy, right? Then you're the rebound person, right? All these things so then you just start, you manifest some time, maybe manifest a couple trips together, whatever. You can go down those paths and it's fine. In my mind, you're micromanaging your manifestations and that's okay. But sometimes things can happen, one, a little quicker, and two, differently, if we let universe kind of show us the way. So instead of manifesting all the little pieces, just manifest the relationship with this individual, and the divorce and the first meeting could simultaneously happen, just to throw out a crazy idea, but could simultaneously happen at the same time. Maybe that first meal where you're hanging out at a restaurant that's slightly different than the one you're at, but it actually is her favorite restaurant, and she's got wonderful memories from 20 years ago from a friend that she was hanging out with there, so it has nothing to do with her current marriage. You guys have a chance to talk about the divorce that she's currently about to file or is filing, right? So my point is you can kind of sidestep some of the things that maybe you think need to happen in order for this manifestation to occur, and actually let universe fill in those blanks. I think it's really important to make sure you do that. Now, of course, again, to go back to the point of the more moving parts you have, the longer this manifestation is going to take. But that's okay. That's fine. You're manifesting something that really matters to you. We don't want to just run around and manifest things willy-nilly, right? Like, I'm not just manifesting, I wish I had a pack of gum. Where's my gum? Who cares? I don't need any gum. Who gives a crap, right? Let's manifest something real that actually matters to ourselves, and then we'll work through it and let these things kind of happen. Now, again, I like letting the universe kind of fill in the blanks. I've ended up at awesome places. I've experienced amazing restaurants and sceneries and relationships with people, and I've met some amazing people. When I stop getting in my own way, I find that manifestations happen very quickly. I'm currently in the process of manifesting something that actually requires a number of moving parts, and I am enjoying the little hints that things are happening along the way. Already, I don't know, I'm probably like 2.5 weeks into this. Already, I'm starting to see things line up. Again, you can manifest the micro parts, and you'll get your little for sure things. Every time you manifest one, when you've manifested the meal with her, you can go, I manifested the meal, woohoo! And then when after that, like, I'm going to manifest the divorce, and then the divorce happens, woohoo! I got the divorce. All right, this is all coming into play. It's all working out perfectly. Yeah, works great. Or you can kind of do like my approach, where you're just manifesting the big picture, and every time something small or something kind of happens that's a step in that direction, you're like, hoo-hoo, and I hoo-hoo all the freaking time. Stuff happens almost every day. Even today, I got a freaking awesome surprise from part of this manifestation chain. So again, sometimes just letting it go, getting out of your own way, stop deciding how it has to happen, and decide what is going to happen. Live from that vantage point. Live from where you're already with the thing you're trying to manifest, and let all the dots fill themselves in. How long should it take? Again, number of steps, number of moving parts. It's just going to take that much longer. There is no fixed amount of time. It depends on how many pieces are in play. It depends how many times you question it along the way. It depends on your belief on this whole law of attraction thing, which again, to kind of go back to a real fundamental thing, if you're still doubting the concepts of manifestation, if you're still a little shaky on your belief of it, meaning it's pretty easy to shake your belief and say, well, that can't happen. And then you're like, oh, maybe you're right. Like if you instantly go to that, maybe you're right, or yeah, you could be, I don't know, maybe I'm just not good enough, whatever crazy things that are being said in your mind that are keeping you from your manifestation, then maybe step back a hair and start with something smaller. Start with the parking place. Start with the green light. Make it, kick it up a notch. Try to get someone to buy you that cup of coffee when you're at the coffee shop. Find a $5 bill just lying on the ground. Manifest that. Manifest yourself. Envision yourself seeing it and picking it up and going, that's $5. Like that one, when that happens, will freak you out because you'll be like, oh my God, I just found actual cash. Like people don't walk by cash on the ground. No one does. Pennies, sure. Dimes, nickels, quarters, sure, maybe. Dollar bills? No, never. No. You're reaching down and you're picking it up. Or euros or whatever, whatever source of currency you're using. You don't just walk by currency lying on the ground. In fact, hell, if you're driving and you think you just saw $1 floating in the street and you're hurting for money, you're stopping your car and running over and trying to get it. So again, try to manifest finding $5. That's a big step in something that's very easy to do. It's only $5. It's not a big deal. It's $5, right? $5 foot. You can buy a foot long in the United States for $5. It's actually more than that now, but it used to be the old commercials. $5 foot long. Subway. Anyway, not important. But anywho, those are, I think, really the big keys. With how long it's going to take is very dependent on the number of moving parts and then your level to it. And I do think it's actually faster when you allow it to happen, when you live from the final manifestation and get out of your own way. Get out of your way. Stop trying to micromanage things, and you will probably be much more surprised, and pleasantly so, might I add, much more surprised at the progress you're making. It's Dan Radio Style. Hope you all are enjoying this, and I hope it's helping. That's really the important part. That's why I do this, frankly. I'm doing this hoping I'm helping. I used to have students, and I'd have one or two people come into my place every once in a while, and I'd work with them, and they'd ask me questions, and I'd offer them stuff, and they'd go on their merry way, and they'd text me a few times a week, and bam, like I'm helping this person, and then someone else, and maybe I'd meet someone over here, and they'd have questions, and I'd just work with them. Well, now I got a larger audience, and I'm just trying to help whoever this resonates with. So I'm hoping that many of you out there are enjoying what I'm trying to do, and I'm having fun doing it. So there's no loss here. It's a win-win, win-win-win. Win. There's 6 wins. I don't know why, but there just needs to be, in this particular case, 6 of those wins. All right, so what are we doing? Oh yeah, more complex equals more time. I said that, but then I also added this little part at the end, which I thought was cool. Time flies when you're having fun. Remember to enjoy the manifestation process. It is actually fun. Right? Agnes will agree with this. I am here on this. And in fact, Agnes and I will probably be bringing up this topic. This is one thing I'm going to email her as far as something good to talk about. And I think manifesting your specific someone and or people are kind of the 3 things that I'm really going to say, hey, maybe we should talk about that. We can get into some specifics and dig into it. So again, Have fun with this. This is fun. If you're not having fun, you're either way too involved in the outcome, and it's really hard to manifest when that's the case. So back it up a hair. Try something smaller. Get your legs going. Get your manifestation legs under you, and then you're good to go. Okay? That's all we're saying. It's Dan Radio Style. Contact me if you've got any questions or thoughts or queries. If there's something in particular that you'd like me to bring up with Hanyas. Again, we're recording that coming up on Saturday. Today is Monday. So in 5 days, we're going to be recording. So if you got questions, email me at danradiostyle@gmail.com. And going to be going out with Chicago. Does anyone really know what time it is?